I'm Stephania Gibb. I'm a wife, mother, grandmother to 11, a new painter, a new author of a soon-to-be-published book, and a new speaker. And you get all that in this small, short package. I'm a student in Dov Barron's Authentic Speaker Academy for Leadership, where I have learned so much about myself and how to become an authentic speaker leader. And being a new speaker, today, I get to take that speaker test drive without those training wheels. So, if I should lose my balance and take a tumble and lose my place, please bear with me while I pick myself up, dust myself off, and get back on track. What's more important and exciting for me today is that I have found my voice. No, I didn't lose it in the backyard hollering at the neighbor's dog. Several years ago, I was robbed of my voice by things that happened to me. And I would like to take you back with me on my journey to reclaim it. How many of you remember being 5 years old? How many of you know of a 5-year-old? Yeah, that's just about it. Well, I remember when I was 5, I had this cute white dress with cap sleeves, a full skirt, and a huge bow at the back. And my jet black hair, which isn't so jet black anymore, this is au naturel. It was cut in a cute little page boy style, you know, straight across the forehead, straight down the sides, and short. Get the picture? And how many of you had a favorite relative? Aunt, uncle, cousin? Well, I had a favorite uncle, whom we saw quite often. You see, I had 3 siblings and parents who worked very hard on the farm. And I didn't get the love and attention that I craved as a child from my parents, but I did from my uncle. So one evening, we went over to his house. I opened the door. I saw him sitting at the table. I was so excited. I ran in to go sit on his lap while he played cards. I was in heaven. Then, what may have seemed like a poisonous spider, I felt something crawling under my skirt. It couldn't be that. It was my uncle's hand. How could he do that? He had touched me in a place and in a way that no 5-year-old should ever be touched. I was scared. I froze, and then I went numb. I don't remember anything after that touch. Through most of my childhood, I do remember being scared, afraid that something was going to happen to me, especially when things were going well. And then it did. I was 16 years old. I got my first summer job. Yes! How many of you remember getting your first summer job? Yes! I would have money of my own. And I was off the farm, out from under the control of my parents. Well, I lived with my employers because I was also their babysitter. And one evening, when work was done, I sat on the sofa to watch television. Suddenly, I could smell body odor, whiskey and breath mints, a smell you don't forget, and oily hair. My male employer had walked in the room and sat down beside me. I cringed. He then leaned over, placed his hand on my thigh, and slowly began to move it upward. I froze again, slipping deeper into numb. The only thought was of that little 5-year-old girl and how she had been touched in exactly the same way. That summer and that incident was the final piece that robbed me of my voice. And as a result, I told myself I couldn't tell anyone, especially my parents. Through most of my later teens and well into my adulthood, I spent a lot of time being emotionally numb. And in spite of, or because of the numbness, I would put on this happy facade, as if nothing was wrong. And then I became involved in a wonderful romantic relationship. I was head over heels in love. Can any of you relate to that? Well, in a place where I thought I felt safe and loved, I would shut down and go numb again as soon as conflicts came up. I then realized that I was in my 50s with no voice. I had been living in Numbville for so long, I had become honorary mayor. Well, one day, during a conversation, my husband of more than 25 years, with tears in his eyes, told me that he missed me. And I thought, how could he miss me? I was there. And then I realized I wasn't there. What was there was the plastic smile, the numb shell of who I really am. I knew right then, if I didn't do something, I would lose the most precious relationship of my life. I was soon introduced to a wonderful man named Dov Baron. Mr. Baron was a giant of a man. Actually, no, he was a short, round, bald Italian man. But he had a giant heart. And he said to me, "You are a diamond. Let your light shine. You are unique. No one else on the planet like you." Well, I was excited and nervous to be able to work with Mr. Baron. After our first few sessions together, I felt I could trust him. He had created a safe place for me where I could feel safe enough to access the memories that I had totally forgotten or had locked away. He had also helped me to understand that the shame that I had carried with me for so many years was not my shame. That belonged to my abusers. And some of those memories that I had accessed were very painful. And as a result, there were days I did not want to speak with Mr. Baron. I didn't want to hear the questions that he might ask. Have any of you ever been asked a question that you really didn't want to know the answer to? Well, I was afraid of what the answers might be. I wasn't too keen on feeling any more of that pain. I wanted to go back to Numbville, where I didn't have to think or feel. Well, I knew that I had to work through the process to learn how to unfreeze the numb. And with Dov's guidance and assistance, I built a lot of self-confidence, even found the courage, along with my husband's supportive nod, to apply for and was accepted into the Authentic Speaker Academy for Leadership, where I learned many skills and tools, specifically principles and codes of conduct by which to live, which allowed me to reclaim my empowered voice, to pull me out of the numb, so that I could stand before you today to share my message of overcoming sexual abuse. Now, are you wondering why I shared my personal story with you? because some parts of it may have been difficult to hear. And as you can see, they still are difficult for me to share, as I've only been speaking about this for just over 6 months. And you remember when I said, I told myself I couldn't tell anyone? Well, just over a month ago, on a trip back to the prairies, I sat down with my elderly parents and I told them. I was shocked at how attentive and compassionate they were. So I was wrong. It is important that I tell people what happened. Well, you know how there are some people who walk into a crowded room craving to become part of the conversation, but don't say a word. I don't know anyone like that. And these same people become emotionally numb after years of staying quiet and not expressing themselves, just like I did. And the sad thing is, when they're drawn into a conversation, they feel they have nothing of value to say, never being able to share their message. Well, the main problem is, these people stand in the shadows, blending into the wallpaper where they're not seen, and their voice is never heard. And another problem is, they walk around with a smile pasted on their face, while inside, they still secretly feel emotionally numb. That was me. And the longer they stay silent, the more repressed they become, and the deeper they feel that what they have to say has no value, and their message is lost. And just so you know, the mayor of Numbville has nothing to say. Well, we all know that if you had a coach or mentor to guide you, you could step out of the shadows to claim your voice and even be the instigator of captivating conversation. How great would that be? And by using the skills you'd learn to unfreeze the emotional numbness, you could connect with your feelings and emotions. And how awesome would that be? And by reclaiming your voice and connecting with your feelings and using the other skills you'd learned, you would realize that you do own, or you could own and claim that you do have an important message to share, even if you don't know what that is yet. Heck, when I enrolled in the program, I had no clue what my message was. I didn't even know I had a message. I do now. Now, just for a few moments, let's create this little movie in your mind. You arrive home from work, you open the door and see a huge bouquet of fresh flowers on the counter. Your partner has set the table for two, complete with candles, and has dimmed the lights. Your favorite meal is prepared, and your partner is waiting in anticipation to hear what you have to say, because you both know that you matter and have value. And how great would that feel to be that heard and loved? And you'd be noticed like bright sunshine after 20 days of nonstop rain. Now let's go back to this movie. It's the same warm evening. You and your partner are sitting on the porch swing, where conversation is flowing because you can now easily reveal your feelings and emotions. And you are so grateful that you've done the work to move out of Numbville, because you can now finally let the love in. How wonderful would it feel to know that fear became butterflies, and those butterflies took flight to give your voice and your message the potential to unfreeze the lives of others? after you've had this great conversation, you check your watch and go, it's time to go. Now imagine this. You're standing on stage. The crowd is cheering and applauding after you've completed the presentation that you have to share the message that you have carried within you. How awesome would that feel? Well, you no longer have to imagine, because I have a surprise for you. I represent Dov Baron International and the Authentic Speaker Academy for Leadership. Before I enrolled in the program, I spent 50+ years being emotionally numb. I could not speak, so no one could hear me or the message I had. But look at me now. I am an empowered woman who has unfrozen the numb, to claim her voice and use that voice to make a difference. These are only a few of the benefits, skills, and tools that you will learn in the Authentic Speaker Academy for Leadership. However, please know that this is a highly exclusive program for which you will have to apply. And I believe somewhere on the application it mentions, please bring garden shovel. And you'll have to be interviewed. I often want to say interrogated, but it's not that bad. And you'll have to be accepted. It is a massively results-driven program that will push you to be all that you can be. And if you push through and use that garden shovel often to dig deep through your old beliefs and conditionings to find who you truly are, as I did, then you will graduate and walk away with all the skills and tools required to learn how to unfreeze the numb, to reclaim your voice, and share your message to make a difference in other people's lives. Now let me ask you, is this important to you? Now be honest. Is it really, really important to you to have the skills you need to discover the emotions within you, especially your passion? To be able to feel again, to claim your voice, so that you can have meaningful conversations with the ones you love and with everyone else. Now, just recently, as I sat on the couch with my beloved husband, Tom, he asked me to face him. And with a huge smile on his face and tears in his eyes, he told me how proud he was of me for having the conversations now that I had been afraid to have for more than 50 years. Now, wouldn't you want something like that? So what is it worth to you? You don't have to tell me. Just tell yourselves. You know what you have to do right now for you? You need to meet me at the back of the room right after this evening's presentations. I will only be available for 20 minutes, and the first 4 people will receive coaching on how to complete and submit a winning application. Keep in mind, this is an invitation to Dov Baron's Authentic Speaker Academy for Leadership, where only a select few will be chosen, and that would be 12, maybe less, to have the opportunity to work with and be personally mentored by Dov Baron. So you need to act now. This will be one of the most rewarding things that you could ever do for you, as I did for me. I'm Stephania Gibb, and I look forward to assisting you in unfreezing your numb to reclaim your voice so that you can share the powerful message that you have secretly carried within you for far too long.